All right, hello, math fans. All right, this is our last topic for the chapter, and it's basically more solving equations. All right, but it's going to be a little bit more complicated. The first thing I want to review is the quadratic formula. Okay, you guys all should remember that. All right, it's that nice little friendly catchy tune. X equals opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Hey! Okay. Anyway, that is a really important formula, so I'm going to write it out here. X equals opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Hey. All right, well, actually, it's no hey here. Okay. Anyway, this is actually a really important formula. You guys should have that memorized. And if you guys remember when we solved quadratics back in the day, if I gave you a problem that couldn't be factored, you could stick it in the quadratic formula and figure it out. Remember what I told you? If it's something that can be easily factored, you want to do it by factoring. If you stick every problem into the quadratic formula, you'd never get done with the test. All right? So that's important here. And let's just start out with the first problem here. It's 2x squared minus x equals 15. Now this is the deal, math fans, is it has to be equal to 0, right? So that's the first thing. You're going to set it equal to 0 and of course put it in descending order. Okay, two really important things before you use the quadratic formula. So we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. And we get 2x squared minus x minus 15 equals 0. And I'm not going to lie to you, this one we could actually solve by factoring. Okay, but I want to stick it in the quadratic formula just to kind of remind you guys what we need to do here. So x equals, well, first of all, a is 2. B is -1 and C is -15. Okay, x equals opposite of B plus or minus the square root of, and you know, again, it's -1 squared. Just be careful when you put that in your calculator. If it's -1 squared, make sure it's positive after that. If you do this in your calculator, you're going to get -1, which is really bad. Okay, if you ever square a negative number, you want to put in parentheses, or just leave out the negative. Okay, so just do 1 squared, and then you're going to have to put a parenthesis. You can just say 1 squared is 1. All right, but just be really careful about that because it's brutal. Okay, opposite of b, x equals opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. All right, and again, be careful when you have all these negatives here. You know, make sure you multiply everything together. All right, that's pretty important. So we get x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of, that's 1, and now it's plus because it's a negative and a negative. So I know it's just going to be plus. So I just have to multiply 4 times 2 is 8 times 15 is 120 all over 4. So x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 121 over 4. Well, 121 is a perfect square. So 1 plus or minus 11 over 4. So we really have two problems here, right? You have 1 plus 11 over 4 and 1 minus 11 over 4. Well, 1 plus 11 is 12 over 4 is 3. 1 minus 11 is -10 over 4, which is -5 halves. So those are the answers to that quadratic. All right, so let's do a problem now where it doesn't come out so friendly. That one's a nice decimal, or a nice whole number, or fraction, but it was actually pretty mellow, right? Okay, so let's do x squared minus 6x equals -2. All right. Again, what we're doing is making sure, you know, it's in descending order. So we're going to add 2 to both sides. So we get x squared minus x plus, or minus 6x plus 2 equals 0. All right, so we're going to have A is 1, B is negative 6, and C is 2. All right, pretty mellow here. We're going to do x equals opposite of b, so 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2, all over 2 times 1. So x equals 6 plus or minus, and you know guys, my goal is really to simplify what's underneath the square root. That should be the first thing to do. Of course, you know, multiply that 2 times 1 on the bottom here, but mainly to simplify the square root. So we're going to have negative 6 squared, which again, if on my calculator, I don't really even need my calculator, but negative 6 squared is positive 36. It's always positive. So it's 36, and then it's minus 8, all over 2. So x equals 6 plus or minus 36 minus 8 is 28. And my next, so we got two different things here. We have our exact answer, which is no decimals, which is basically you simplify radicals, or you get whole numbers or fractions. Okay, but it's no decimals. And an approximate answer is decimals. Or again, it could be whole numbers, but if you have like the square root of 7, that's an exact answer. But if you take the square root of 7 and you get a decimal, that's a decimal answer. That's an approximate answer. All right, so we're at this point right here. And basically what I want to do is I want to simplify the square root of 28. So it's 6 plus or minus. You guys should know it's 7 times 4. Okay, so I can take a 2 out. So it's 2 root 7 over 2. All right. And so what I'd like you to do is you can't really simplify the plus and minus because it's not, you can't really do 2 plus root 7 and 2 minus root 7. So what you can do is you need to write it as 2 fractions. So write as 2 fractions. So x equals 6 over 2 plus or minus 2 root 7 over 2. All right? And then simplify. We get x equals 6 over 2 is 3, plus or minus 2 root 7 over 2 is just root 7. And that is my answer. That's my exact answer. Okay, very important. It's my exact answer. The decimal answer is real simple. All right, if you guys remember from back in the day, at this point right here, math fans, you can give me a decimal answer. You literally type in your calculator 6 plus 2 square root 7, hit equals, don't forget to hit equals, and then divide that by 2. And if you do that in your calculator, you will get 5.6, rounded to 1 decimal place. And then, then if you do 6 minus 2 root 7, hit equals, divided by 2, that gives you 0.4. So that is these two answers right here are your decimal answers. Okay, so exact answer looks like this. Decimal answer looks like that. All right, so let's do a couple more problems here. 2x squared equals 6x minus 3. All right, so first thing we're going to put in descending order and move everything to one side. So subtract 6x and add 3. So minus 6x plus 3. And we get 2x squared minus 6x plus 3 equals 0. And so A is 2, B is negative 6, and C is 3. So plug it in our friendly little quadratic formula. X equals opposite of B, so 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared minus 4 times 2 times 3. All over 2 times 2. So we got 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 8 times 3, 24, all over 4. So x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 12 over 4. And let's simplify this guy one more. So we shot here, so 6 plus or minus, that's x equals 6 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 4. Okay, so now if I want to get an approximate answer, that's going to be just typing that in your calculator. 6 plus 2 square root of 3 equals, and divide that by 4. And that should give you about 2.4. Then we'll do 6 minus 2 root 3 equals, divided by 4, and that gives me about 0.6. Okay, so these are your approximate answers. And then, of course, the exact answer is you just split up the fraction. So it's 6 over 4 plus or minus 2 root 3 over 4. And then you simplify the fraction. So 6 over 4 is 3 halves, and 2 over 4 is 1 half. So it's root 3 over 2. And that's your exact answer. Okay? That's really not that bad. All right. Let's try another one here. Uh, 2x squared equals negative 3x minus 5. Okay, so I'm going to add 3x to both sides and add 5. So you get 2x squared plus 3x plus 5 equals 0. So A is 2, B is 3, C is 5. So x equals opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5, all over 2 times 2. So x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9. 8 times 5 is 40, all over 4. So x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 40 is negative 31 over 4. Uh-oh! Boo! Gotta highlight this baby. There we go, man. There's a square root under the radical. That's bad. Okay, what does that mean? That means no solution. NSB. No solution, baby. Okay? Remember that. If you ever have a radical or a negative underneath the radical, it's automatically no solution. That's what it is. Technically, it's no real solution because you'll find out in Algebra 2 you have an imaginary solution, but we're not going to worry about imaginary solutions right now. All right? So just remember, only if it's a negative under the radical, but be careful of all your negative signs underneath there. All right. Let's do another example here. So we have x squared equals 4x plus 1. Subtract 4x and subtract 1. So you get x squared minus 4x minus 1 equals 0. Okay, A is 1, B is negative 4, and C is negative 1. So x equals opposite of B plus or minus the square root of negative b, or b squared, minus 4 times 1 times negative 1. Okay, so it's all over 2 times 1. So x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of, it's 16, plus 4. Okay, got to be careful of those signs, right? It's negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4, all over 2. So I get x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 20 over 2. This is it's not here. Okay, and then I can simplify the square root of 20, so x equals 4 plus or minus 2 root 5 over 2. And I can split it up now. So it's 4 over 2 plus or minus 2 root 5 over 2. And I get 2 plus or minus root 5. Okay? That's my exact answer. Now, of course, your approximate, I really can go, at this point right here, guys, I can do my approximate. So I just type in my calculator. So again, this is approximate. 4 plus 2 root 5, hit equals, and then divide that by 2. And I get 4.24. So I'm running here, this is the 2 decimal places, so be careful when I'm asking you guys to round it to. And then 4 minus 2 root 5 divided by 2 equals negative 0.24. So that is my approximate answer. All right, that's it. It's just got to be really careful, but now you're going to give me exact answers with radicals, approximate answers if I ask for it with decimals. So watch what I'm asking for. All right, that's it, math fans. Have a nice day. Goodbye.